As you are familiar about the Arrhenius concept, so second concept we are taking into the consideration, which came soon after the Arrhenius concept, that is the Bronsted-Lowry concept, right? It was actually a wider concept as compared to the Arrhenius, as he was able to explain many facts, right? So just let us see that what the concept was and what facts or what limitation or how he has just resolved the limitation of the Arrhenius concept, right? So according to the Bronsted-Lowry concept, what they said acid is a substance that donate proton. That means any substance which donates the proton, you know that what is the proton, right? So any substance which donates the proton is an acid, and whereas any substance which you can say accepts the proton is called as base. So that means a substance which is acting as a proton donor is an acid, and any substance which is acting as a proton acceptor is base. So I'm just writing few examples, and you will get to see here that how a substance donate proton and how a substance accept proton, right? So the first example we have is HCl plus water. So what happens in this case? You get to see that yes, there is an HCl, it possesses the proton. That means when we will dissolve it in water, obviously it is going to donate proton, because anybody can donate the substance which it actually has, right? So this molecule has the hydrogen ion. That means when we will dissolve this in water, it is just going to donate its proton, right? So how? That means it is just going to form the H positive. This H positive will, as I've told you, combines with H2O to form H3O positive, and it is Cl negative. So as you have seen that this molecule has donated its proton to this molecule, so that means it is a proton donor, and any substance which is donating proton, I have told you, is an acid. And this H2O is just accepting the proton. You have seen that it just added H to H2O and it forms the hydronium ion. So that means it accepts the proton. That is why it is called as a base, right? So second example I am putting up for you is that we have NH3 plus water. So what is going to happen in this case? Right, so NH3 plus water, that means this water actually contain, you know, that H and OH. No need to write this. This I am writing just to make you clear, right? But don't ever write H and OH separately for water. So we know that the water contain H and OH. That means it has the proton and it has the tendency to donate a proton. So that means it is just donating the proton to NH3, and after accepting proton, NH3 becomes NH4 positive and H2O is just left with OH negative. As you have seen, H is already gone and it is left with OH. So that means hydroxide ion, and because this NH3 is accepting H, so it becomes the ammonium ion. So that means in this example, this is you can say donating proton. So that means its nature is acidic and its nature is basic, right? So one more example we will be discussing, that is NH3 plus HCl forming NH4Cl, or NH4 positive plus Cl negative ion. So in the same example, what you get to see that in this in HCl, H is donating proton. That means it is an acid and it is accepting. That is why it is a base, right? So we have few more example based on it. One more example, because I'll make you understand the few distinguished properties out of these examples. These examples just appear to be same, but actually there is a difference between them. That we'll discuss later on. Just look at the board for the examples first. We know CO3 plus H2O, it will form the bicarbonate ion plus the hydrogen ion. So that means in this H and OH is just donating H to H and it is forming the bicarbonate ion and it is the hydrogen ion. So that means again it is acting as an acid and it is acting as a base, right? Now look at the board. What I just wanted you to know, that those distinguished properties, that what are the dissimilarities between these examples. they all belong to a Bronsted-Lowry concept, and they do behave, or you can say they just obey the statements which were said by Bronsted, that the one that donate proton is an acid and one that accept proton is a base, right? But what difference, if we consider these two reactions, what difference do you get to see in that? See, in the first reaction, H2O is accepting proton. You can see this. It has just accept proton and it forms the hydronium ion. Right, and in the second example, what you get to see, this water, like this water molecule is donating the proton. So that means in first case it is accepting the proton, and in second case it is donating the proton. So and we have just discussed that any substance which donate proton is an acid and the one which receives proton is a base. So in which category you are just going to categorize the water? See, I have just written two examples. In one it is accepting the proton, and the other it is it is donating the proton. So what nature it possesses, whether it is an acid or it is an base? You're right, it is actually an amphoteric. There are few substances which are amphoteric in nature. That means they have acidic as well as basic behavior. As I've just saw you the behavior of water, you can see in few examples it is just donating the proton, and the other it is accepting the proton. So that means it has the tendency to behave as an acid in some equations and as a base as in some equations. And those substances which can behave as acid as well as base is said to be amphoteric. So this is the difference between the two reactions. They belong to a same concept, they obey the concept, but still it shows the amphoteric nature of the water. So if you get the question like that, how can you show the amphoteric nature of the water? So you can explain on the basis of the Bronsted concept. It is you can say the accepted concept. It has the limitation, but still this is an accepted example, and you can explain on the basis of this, right? So the other thing what I want to tell you in this reaction is that, just look at the board, it is NH3 plus HCl forming NH4 positive and Cl negative. What is the difference between this given reaction and these two reactions? The difference is that in both cases the water is present, and this reaction is occurring without water. So that means this concept shows that the reaction or you can say the water is not compulsory to be present, or it is not compulsory that the water should be present there in order to you can say test the substance as acid or a base. The reactions can also take place without an aqueous medium, as it is shown in the case of this. So that means in this case this NH3 is behaving as base. There is no water present, but still it is behaving as a base, because the Arrhenius told that any substance behave as a base which when dissolved in water produce hydroxide ion, and in this case the water is not present, but still ammonia is behaving as a base and HCl is behaving as an acid. So he just you can say succeeded in proving that water is not the necessary condition to test a substance or a substance to behave as an acid or a base, right? And what you get to see in a fourth reaction, just look at the board. It is carbonate ion when added to water forming bicarbonate ion and hydrogen ion, right? So in this case it is a base because it is accepting the proton, and it is an acid, right? Arrhenius told that any substance act as a base if it contains the hydroxide ion, and I told you that it is it was a major limitation of the Arrhenius that we get to see certain substances which are not containing the H or OH ion, but still they possess the property of acid and base. So this is what is proven by the Bronsted. Carbonate ion do not carry any hydroxide ion, right? You don't get to see any kind of hydroxide ion, but still here it is behaving as a base. So that means a substance, it is not a compulsion that a substance should possess hydroxide ion in order to behave as a base. It can, you can say it can also behave as a base without the presence of hydroxide ion. So these are actually the limitations which were not, you can say, not covered by the Arrhenius, and it was proven by the Bronsted, right? So again I am repeating for you. According to the Bronsted, acid is a substance which donate proton, and the one which accept is a base, and we have the amphoteric nature of the water. That means the water can either accept the proton as well as can donate the proton, right? The second thing is that there is no compulsion that the aqueous medium should present. The reaction still take place in the absence of the aqueous medium, as it is shown by the third equation, and moreover there are no such you can say the compulsion is there that there should be a hydroxide ion in order to behave a substance as a base, or the hydrogen ion to behave as an acid. Still without the, or you can say without the absence of those ions, still the substance can behave as an acid and a base, right? So this is what the Bronsted-Lowry concept. And one more thing which came into the consideration when he was just explaining this concept, it was that, I'll take one example, then you'll be able to understand it in a more better way, right? So suppose I am taking an example, the same first example which I took before. Suppose HCl is added to water, then means it is going to donate proton and it is left with this makes hydronium ion, and this HCl is left with Cl negative, right? So that means it is behaving as an acid and it is behaving as a base, right? Then what do we get to see in it? We get to see that even the reversible reaction is an acid-base reaction. Even a reversible reaction is an acid-base reaction. How come? Like HCl is donated proton, right? Now it is deprived of proton, but it has a tendency to combine with the proton again. So that means now it is going to accept the hydrogen ion. That means it is going to be now base, right? And in this case, as it has the extra proton now it has the tendency to donate proton. So that means it can now act as a acid. So that means the forward reaction is acid-base reaction, and obviously the backward reaction is also acid-base reaction, right? One term we have Bronsted-Lowry actually introduced, that is the conjugate acid-base pair, right? What was it? It was like that, like HCl is an acid, right? So it is an acid. When it does just donate the proton, it is left with Cl negative. It forms the base. Now it has a tendency to, you can say, accept the proton, right? So that means the acid produce the hydrogen ion and a conjugate base, right? And similarly, if I have a base, like I have a base, this, now what happens, suppose there is a base, H2O, it has a tendency to form hydronium ion, right? So that means, or you can say that the acid has a tendency to form, I'll make more simple for you. You can say acid has a conjugate base and a base has conjugate acid. That means an acid, when gives the hydrogen ion, it forms a base. It means it will form a substance which needs a proton now, right? And the base, that means which is already accepted the proton, it can now donate the proton now. That means it is having a conjugate acid. That means a base has a conjugate acid and the acid has a conjugate base. And moreover, one more thing, if there is a strong acid, then the base which is formed is a weak conjugate base. And if there is a strong base, then it is forming the weak conjugate acid. That means if one side is strong, the other side is going to be weak. If other is weak, another is going to be strong, right? So what you write on the left side is a pure acid or a base, and what you write on the left side is a conjugate acid or a base, right? So this was explained by the Bronsted, that is the conjugate acid base concept as well, or a base, conjugate base or acid or a base, whatever you can use in that case, right? So it just you can say they succeeded in explaining the many you can say the phenomenons, but there was still a limitation to it. It was that he just explained this thing, that why NH3 can combine with HCl, but he was not able to explain that why this kind of reaction take place. That means when metal oxide react with non-metal oxide, it just formed CaCO3, we know that, and it is a neutralization reaction. It just failed to explain that how this reaction actually occur. So the concept just failed in explaining this kind of reaction, that is the reaction between the acid and base to form a salt and water. Moreover, he just failed, like we have certain compounds like BCl3, we have AlCl3, we have BF3, all these compounds behave as an acid. So they don't need proton, right? Or neither they have proton to donate, neither they just take proton. So that means there is no concept for that on the basis of proton acceptor or proton donor, but still they behave as an acid. So what is the reason behind it? He just was unable to, you can say, to put light on this second factor. So this was the two limitation which the Bronsted failed to explain. Now I'll just make you practice few questions, because you often get a few questions based on this concept, that is the Bronsted-Lowry, that is how to make conjugate acid and conjugate base, right? So just look at the board. I'll just make you practice so that if you get question in the exam and you are able to do that. Like if I have a question, make conjugate basis for the given ones. Conjugate base means that we need, that means the earlier we are having the acid, and then after the removal of proton ion, what we will be left with, it will be a conjugate base, right? So in order to write the conjugate base, you need to remove the proton, and after that what you get will be a conjugate base, right? So just look at the board. I'll do few examples for you, then you will be yourself able to do that. Suppose I have these, right? So obviously if I want to make a conjugate base, that means already they are acids. That means already they are acids, and according to Bronsted, the acid have ability to you can say give the hydrogen ions. So in these reactions we are just going to remove the hydrogen ions, and the product which we are left with, it will be a conjugate base. So look at the board, it is H2SO4, right? So that means it has the H ion to donate, and it is left with it, right? As we know that if many acids contain 2 or 3 or 4 H ions, they don't give those H ions in a one go. They do it step by step, right? So that is what I have done here. See, I have just removed one H ion, I have not removed 2 H ions. So because if the acid, the same way, if the acid possess the 2 or 3 H ions, or you can say if any substance possess 2 or 3 OH ions, it is just going to do it in a one step, not in a one go, right? So what is it? See, H2SO4 giving one H ion left with this. So obviously this is an acid and it is going to be a conjugate base. So this is how you are going to write. Similarly, HCO3, it has a H, that means it can lose this H ion and it will form a carbonate. So again, acid and a conjugate base. Similarly, HF, it is donating H ion left with F, conjugate base. H3O, H2O plus H positive, conjugate base. See, this NH3 plus H positive, NH3, conjugate base. So it is just so simple to write. Just you have to, like if you have to write the conjugate base, then what you are given with, just remove the H ion from it, right? Do not remove all the H ions because it happens in a step wise. So just remove one H ion at a time, right? So similarly, if you get a question based on vice versa, that if you get to make, if you get a question to make conjugate acids, then how you will do that? So just look at the board. I am doing few examples for you. So you are getting a question to make conjugate acids now, right? So we have few questions for you, what I have listed for you. One is hydroxide ion, other is HO2 negative, H2PO4 negative, this is CH3NH2, again we have NH3, we have HS negative. I am just stating few examples because once you will be done with this, you will be able to do other examples as well. So when you have to write for the conjugate acid, that means what you have got is the base, right? And we know that bases are proton acceptors. That means when you want to write for the conjugate acid, you need to add H ion to it, right? On adding H ion, you will get a conjugate acid. See how we will do that. OH negative, right? If I will add H positive to it, what it will become? Obviously, it is going to become H2O. So this is a conjugate acid. Just keep on adding H to it, right? So this is HO2 negative. If I add H to it, what it becomes? It becomes hydrogen peroxide. So that means it is a conjugate acid. If I add H to it, what it will become? it will become H3PO4, phosphoric acid. If I add H to it, it will become CH3, NH3, and you'll put a negative sign as well, because NH3 is a molecule and it cannot be, you can say that it has a lone pair and it cannot attach to any CH hydrocarbon like that. So we need to put a negative sign on it, right? Again, we are adding H to it, it will become ammonium ion. We are adding H to it, it will becoming a hydrogen sulfide molecule. So this is how you're going to do, you're going to make the conjugate base as well as the conjugate acid, right? So whenever you wish to make a conjugate base, so just keep in mind that you're provided with an acid, and acid has the ability to donate proton. So in order to make conjugate base, just remove H from it, what you will get will be a conjugate base. And when you get to make a conjugate acid, that means you are given with base, and base has a tendency to accept proton. So just add H to it, and what you get after adding H will be conjugate acids. So that is how you're just going to do this Bronsted-Lowry concept.